how's it going, guys? Phil here. So, yesterday we did the Heroic Tavern Brawl, Brawlseum, with a new variant of Taunt Druid. With the new cards, lots of older archetypes have, gotten a lot of support. Um, and so, while Taunt Druid is not, a new deck that was born with the Rastakhan's Rumble expansion, it got a lot of tools, which changed its lists up from the, pre-Rastakhan's lists quite a bit. So, essentially, it is Taunt Druid still, so you're attempting to play Hadronox, play Taunt Minions, kill your Hadronox, and then resummon your Hadronox, or, in other ways, get the recursive benefit of the Death Rattle that summons all your Taunt Minions. It's a very grindy deck. It's a very strong deck going into the first couple days of Rastakhans, simply because it has enough late game to outvalue stuff like Odd Mage and some of the bigger control threats like Odd Warrior, as well as having tools which can still stop aggro because you are Druid. And with the release of Rastakhan's Rumble, there's a new variant of Taunt Druid coming out. So the old variant was typically running Witching Hour Cube, and that was the way to get the recursive effect of your Hadronox Taunt Death Rattle. With the new set, though, it opens up some possibilities where you don't have to run the Witching Hour Cube package anymore, which, also opens up your deck list to running more beasts, because you no longer have to worry about your Witching Hour hitting a separate beast that wasn't Hadronox. So, with the release of Rastakhan's Rumble, the Undertaker came out. The Undertaker is a 8/5 battlecry, gain the death roll effects of 3 friendly minions that died this game. So essentially, if at any point you had played and then killed your Hadronox, the Undertaker will then have the recursive effect of bringing back all your taunt minions, because it will gain the Hadronox death rattle. So essentially what you can do is set up Hadronox, kill that, get 1 full board of taunt minions, and then your Undertaker will get you a second refill. Now, in theory, this only gives you 2 refills as opposed to the Witching Hour Cube versions of the past expansions, which give you upwards of 6. However, the Undertaker can also get other death roll effects along with the Hadronox. So as long as you only play 3 or less death rattles, you can guarantee what he's going to get. So to that point, we run the Astral Tiger. Now, Astral Tiger, it's a 4-mana 3/5, no tribal tag, but its death rattle shuffles a copy of this minion into your deck. So it helps you evade fatigue, and it ends up comboing very well with the Undertaker. So you can shuffle infinite Undertakers into your list. Essentially what this means is if you play 1 or 2 Astral Tigers throughout the game, you play your Hadronox, your Undertaker will then, when it dies, respawn all your taunt minions from Hadronox, as well as shuffling additional copies of itself into your deck. So you will never fatigue, because you get infinite Undertakers if you run, if you get 2 of the Astral Tiger Death Rattle. And then you also will every turn have a big threat that can then resummon all your taunt minions. And something that's really, really strong about this, that was also strong about the Cube version, but this is much more potent, it feels. That could just be subjective. This just feels better. I don't know why. Probably because you're also evading fatigue with it. You can power up your spellstones to the point where a single spellstone at dealing 6 damage will be able to kill your Undertaker. So, ideal turns is you can go Hadronox, Naturalize, and then let's say you've already played and killed off 1 or 2 Astral Tigers. You can then, when that board gets wiped from Hadronox, play Undertaker, spellstone it, get 2 more Undertakers in your deck, as well as a full refill. And so it essentially makes your spellstones, which typically couldn't hit your Hadronox, because, dealing 6 to a 7 health minion won't kill it. So you have to naturalize your Hadronox, but then with your Undertaker, the spellstone essentially becomes another naturalize. The only thing that this deck can really suffer from is transform effects, because simply silence effects do not affect the Undertaker unless it hits the Undertaker. So if one of your Astral Tigers gets silenced and then dies, that still counts as the death rattle minion dying, even though the death rattle didn't go off. So your Undertaker will still gain the death rattle of shuffling a copy of this minion into your deck. So the only thing you really have to worry about is someone transforming your Hadronox. So essentially what you can do is just, whenever you get your Hadronox on board, whether that be by playing it naturally on turn 10 or by pulling it with Undasta, you can instantly naturalize it, and then you have your spellstones to proc your Undertakers if you need to get it procced really quickly. It also avoids the issue of it potentially getting silenced. Um, so it's very, very powerful. Essentially, if you make it to late game, you have infinite boards full of taunt, which means you can't get hit in the face except with burn spells. But you're druid, and with the new Undertaker list, you don't have to run Witching Hour, so you can run beasts, which means you can run the Malfurion hero power or the Malfurion hero card, so that you can summon taunt beasts and get the better hero power to give you 3 armor every turn. You're essentially invincible once you get to a certain point in the game. Because you don't have to run Witching Hour anymore, you're able to run a plethora of different beasts. That essentially comes down to you run the double Amani Warbear, because it's a good taunt minion to resurrect with Hadronox. It has rush, so it has immediate impact, and it also can get pulled with Undasta, as well as being able to run the Malfurion hero power, because either your poisonous spiders or your scarabs are both beasts, and you no longer have to worry about them being resummoned with the Witching Hour. And then you can also try and fit in Spreading Plague, simply just because it's a good anti-aggro tool. I, during the Heroic Tavern Brawl, didn't run any copies of Spreading Plague, and I'm still not certain on what the refined version of this list is going to look like, but given the fact that Spreading Plague is so potent versus aggro, I think even though it dilutes your taunt pool for Hadronox and Undertakers, it's still a worthy inclusion, because against aggro, the board that you're getting back doesn't particularly matter, and against control, you can just never play the card. So it's really, really strong. You essentially outvalue any opponent late game, and the only real differences from this list that we're showing here that you can try to include is potentially a second Spreading Plague, potentially a second Astral Tiger to get, a faster and more reliable chance of having your Undertaker have 2 of its death rattles. And you can also try to fit the Tyrantus in here to combo with your Undasta. I don't have Tyrantus. It seems, fairly powerful, but I just don't have that card, and it's definitely not core to the list at all. So essentially, that's all there is to go off of, the new Taunt Druid list. It's really powerful right now. On the channel already, you can go back and watch the Heroic Tavern Brawls, and then there's also going to be a video discussing some of the Heroic Tavern Brawl games in depth, because going back to games where we made mistakes is really important, especially when you're learning new decks. And while this isn't a brand new archetype, it definitely is a much different take on an old archetype. So yeah, that's essentially what you're looking at with new Taunt Druid. The Undertaker seems incredibly powerful, and so with that, make sure to check out the other 2 videos about the deck on the channel, and the deck code for this specific list will be in the description box below. Again, the only changes you can really make, you can cut this Wrath, put in an Astral Tiger, you can try to fit in a second Spreading Plague, you can try and fit in Tyrantus if you want. But basically, this deck has an incredible shell because it's Druid, and then you just have infinite late game now with the Undertaker. So yeah, alright guys, have a good one.